Hello, friends. Tonight, we journey deep into a world overflowing with color, and we ask a question that lives in every heart. Have you ever wished you could just disappear? Have you ever felt that your truest self, your loudest laugh, your brightest dream, or your strangest quirk was just too much for the world to handle? If so, then let us meet Charlie, a little chameleon who lived in the emerald canopy, a place where color was everything and fitting in was the ultimate rule. Charlie was, by all accounts, a master of his craft. He could shift his skin to match a velvety purple orchid, a sun-bleached vine, or the mottled brown of a sleeping trunk beetle. He possessed a talent for camouflage that made the older chameleons sigh with approval, often saying, "Ah, young Charlie, the perfect citizen. We cannot even see him." For in the chameleon clan, the greatest sign of respect was invisibility, and the highest virtue was quiet conformity. The whole world was seen as a dangerous place, and the best way to survive was to blend in, to hide your edges, and to never, ever stand out. But Charlie carried a secret, a dazzling, breathtaking secret that made every day a little bit of a lie. Deep inside his skin, below the layers of shifting green and brown, Charlie's true color was a magnificent, iridescent, swirling rainbow. This color, if he ever let it free, would cause him to shimmer and glow with every step, reflecting the sun and a million brilliant sparks. It was the color of joy, of discovery, and of complete, unburdened authenticity. But Charlie believed it was a terrible curse. He was terrified that if the clan saw his true colors, they would cast him out for being too bright, too flashy, or worst of all, too different. So Charlie spent every waking moment trying to be the color everyone else expected him to be, fighting the brilliant light inside him. When he was near his stern teacher, he would quickly shift to a serious, muted gray. When he walked past the sporty young chameleons playing high up in the red blossoms, he would instantly flash a vibrant, confident crimson. And when he sat at home, exhausted from a day of continuous pretending, his skin would settle into a confused, mottled brown and pink. Changing colors so often, so unnaturally, took a terrible toll. It drained his energy faster than running up a waterfall. His tongue felt dry, his eyes felt gritty, and his usually smooth skin felt strangely rough and tight. One morning, the clan gathered for the great sunrise ceremony on the enormous, moss-covered trunk of elders. The trunk of elders was a deep, sacred black, and out of respect, every chameleon was expected to perfectly match its dark, imposing hue. "Hold the color, Charlie," his mother whispered, nudging him gently with her elbow. "Be still. Be perfect," Charlie gulped, focusing every last bit of his energy on turning his skin the required uniform black. The energy needed to suppress his inner rainbow and maintain the deep black was immense, like trying to hold a bursting dam with one small finger. But he succeeded. He stood among the silent, black crowd, a perfect, invisible copy of everyone else. He felt the pride of his parents, the quiet approval of the elders, and the deep, cold ache of his own dishonesty. But just as the sun elder began his chant, a small bright yellow bird landed directly on Charlie's tail. The bird mistook Charlie's perfectly camouflaged tail for a safe, sturdy black branch. The sudden, unexpected touch, and the clash of the bird's vibrant yellow against his forced black was the final straw. Charlie's focus shattered. The dam burst. The rainbow he had been fighting broke through his skin in a dazzling, uncontrollable wave, a spectacle of pure, raw, shimmering color. The entire ceremony gasped, and the crowd instantly recoiled from him, their black camouflage shifting to angry, fearful red. The sun elder pointed a trembling claw at him. "Abomination. You show your true colors, get out. You are a danger to our camouflage." The little yellow bird, startled by the sudden flash, flew away, chirping its alarm, leaving Charlie alone and exposed in his glorious, terrifying light. His fear was realized. They hated his truth. With a painful cry, Charlie scrambled off the trunk of elders and fled into the deep, dark jungle, his shimmering colors flashing wildly through the green leaves. He ran until he collapsed in a strange, silent part of the forest, completely exhausted, completely alone, and finally, completely himself. He had hidden his truth for too long, and now, he had to discover what the world looks like when you are too exhausted to blend in. The part of the jungle where Charlie landed was known as the Great Gray Hush, a silent, misty valley beneath the thickest part of the canopy where the sun rarely touched the forest floor. He collapsed onto a bed of damp, dull moss, his legs trembling not just from the run, but from the unbearable strain of holding the deep, matte black for so long. The effort of pretending is often more exhausting than the reality, and Charlie's reserves of color-shifting energy were completely empty. He lay there, breathing shallowly, his skin pulsing gently with the swirling, magnificent colors of his true self. He tried just one more time to camouflage himself. He focused on the gray moss, willing his brilliant rainbow scales to turn dull and muted. But the colors wouldn't obey. They stayed bright, dazzling, and utterly, terribly stuck, a permanent beacon in the quiet, hidden world. He scrambled over to a small, dark pool of water, peering at his own reflection with a sinking heart. "I am a walking warning sign," he whispered to the forest, his voice small and defeated. "I can't hide. I can't eat. I can't sleep." The jungle seemed entirely empty here, silent, almost as if the colors he emitted were pushing all the other cautious creatures away. He spent the long, anxious day huddled on a thick, dark root, watching the faint light shift, afraid to move, afraid to hunt, afraid to even breathe. He started to understand the hidden exhaustion of the chameleons he had left behind. They weren't tired from running, they were tired from hiding. This profound knowledge, the true cost of their conformity, was the first educational seed to sprout in Charlie's frightened heart. As twilight approached, turning the gray hush to a soft, velvety black, Charlie felt a familiar, sharp pang of hunger. He knew that hunting at night, without the disguise of color, was suicide. His shimmering scales would make him a glowing, easy target for any nocturnal predator. Suddenly, a flutter of movement, soft as dust, brushed the air right near his head. Charlie froze, his wide chameleon eyes, designed to move independently, locking onto the source of the movement. A creature landed silently on the root right beside him. It was an enormous moth, its wings velvety and soft, looking like they were woven from faded antique tapestries. This was Elder Mariposa, a creature of the night, whose eyes saw not color, but only the different wavelengths of light and warmth. Elder Mariposa turned her great soft head toward Charlie, who was now trembling so violently his rainbow colors were flashing uncontrollably. "My dear," the elder moth said, her voice a dry, gentle whisper, like the sound of papery wings beating against each other. "Why do you tremble so, when you are such a wonderful source of light?" I am exposed," Charlie stammered, pulling his shimmering tail closer to his body in a futile attempt to hide. "My colors are stuck, the world sees me." Elder Mariposa slowly unfurled one of her magnificent wings, shielding Charlie from the faint moonlight filtering through the canopy. "And what is so wrong with the world seeing you, little light?" she asked gently. "Do you think the moon worries that it shines too brightly for the night?" "The clan says ... double quotes Charlie began, his voice cracking. "The clan says that to be different is to be dangerous. That brightness attracts the wrong kind of attention." Elder Mariposa shifted slightly, allowing her gaze, full of centuries of night wisdom, to settle on the panicked chameleon. "The wrong kind of attention finds darkness and blends into it," she stated simply. "A true light is never the danger, little one. It is the warning." She explained that the creatures of the night, those who truly hunt, look for the quiet, the muted, and the things that are easily mistaken for bark and shadow. "Your colors are a declaration, Charlie," Mariposa whispered. "They announce, I am here, I am unique." and I am not part of the dull, familiar meal. She then pointed with a delicate leg toward a rare, iridescent fern that glowed faintly with soft purple light. That fern never changes its color, Mariposa instructed. It is beautiful, and it is safe because its brightness tells the right kind of creatures, like me, where the good things grow. Charlie looked at the fern, then at his own shimmering scales, and a tiny, fragile seed of hope began to sprout in his weary heart. He still couldn't hide, but maybe, just maybe, not hiding was the actual point of his magnificent color. "Come with me, little light," Mariposa invited, softly flapping her velvety wings. "The night is full of colors the day never sees. We must go high, to the top of the canopy where the true stars shine, and where the air is too thin for shame to follow." And so Charlie the chameleon, terrified but trusting, began his climb, following a silent, ancient moth toward the secrets held by the light. The climb to the top of the emerald canopy was unlike any journey Charlie had ever taken. He usually scurried through the undergrowth, low to the ground, trying to be as invisible as possible. But this climb was slow, deliberate, and gloriously exposed. Elder Mariposa, her velvet wings beating with a silent, rhythmic grace, led the way, pausing often to allow Charlie to catch his breath. "Slow and steady, little light," she whispered, her voice like a rustling of dry leaves. "The view is always better when you take your time getting there." As they ascended, the air began to thin, growing cooler and smelling faintly of stardust and rain. The canopy slowly began to part, revealing glimpses of the vast ink-black sky sprinkled with diamonds. Charlie looked at his shimmering rainbow scales, no longer a source of shame, but a part of the starlit climb. "My clan," Charlie said, his voice softer. "They only ever look down or straight ahead." They said looking up was a distraction. Elder Mariposa chuckled, a dry, papery sound. "Looking down helps you find roots. Looking up helps you find purpose." They reached the very highest point of the canopy, a colossal, ancient branch that jutted out into the open sky, looking like a bridge to the moon. Above them, the moon hung like a magnificent, watchful eye, pouring its silvery light over the sleeping jungle. Charlie gasped, his chameleon eyes swiveling independently, trying to take in every glorious detail of the view. Below, the emerald canopy stretched out like a vast, dark green ocean, dotted with pinpricks of light from glowing fungi and fireflies. But it wasn't just the beauty that amazed him. It was the diversity of light. Some plants glowed with a deep, pulsing red, others shimmered with an electric blue, and tiny insects blinked in and out like miniature stars. No two lights were the same, and yet they all belonged. They all shone. "Look, Charlie," Elder Mariposa whispered, extending a delicate leg towards the horizon where the faint, warm glow of a distant fire could be seen. "That is the human village. They make their own light. They tell their own stories around the flames." Charlie understood then, with a clarity that felt like pure moonlight, that there were endless ways to shine and endless ways to be seen. His clan had chosen the path of invisibility, a valid way to survive, but not the only way. His own path, the path of his true colors, was a path of vibrant, undeniable presence, and it had its own kind of strength. "My colors are not a curse," Charlie breathed, looking at his beautiful, shimmering body under the vast sky. "They're a gift." He looked at Elder Mariposa, her ancient eyes reflecting his own truth. "But what do I do with this gift?" "I'm still alone." Elder Mariposa gently brushed her wing against his, sending a soothing wave of calm through his vibrant scales. "You're not alone, little light," she corrected. "You are simply undiscovered." She then pointed to a particularly dark, overgrown section of the canopy where even the moon struggled to penetrate. "In that dark place," she explained, "lives a tiny lost firefly. His light is dim, and he is very afraid. The chameleons cannot see him, for they are focused on blending. The moths cannot reach him, for the path is too thick. But you, Charlie," Mariposa whispered, You are the bridge between the seen and the unseen. Your light is a beacon that can guide, and your small size can navigate where others cannot. Go to him, Charlie. Show him that a different kind of light can lead the way. And so, with a new sense of purpose shining brighter than any fear, Charlie began his descent, a magnificent living rainbow falling gracefully through the night. He was no longer fleeing. He was answering a call. He was no longer a puzzle piece that didn't fit. He was the guide, the helper, the unique solution to a hidden problem. The descent into the darkest part of the canopy was a journey Charlie never would have dared before. But now, with Elder Mariposa's words of purpose echoing in his mind, his shimmering scales felt less like a vulnerability and more like a necessary tool. He navigated through tangled vines and thick, damp leaves, his steady glow cutting through the oppressive gloom that even the moonlight couldn't pierce. The air grew heavy and still, smelling of rich earth and ancient, undisturbed secrets. Suddenly, from amidst the thick clump of shadowy ferns, Charlie saw it, a tiny, struggling flicker, barely brighter than a dying ember. "Hello?" Charlie called out softly, his voice echoing a little in the surprising stillness of the hidden pocket. The tiny light jumped, then vanished, like a frightened sigh. "Don't hide," Charlie urged gently, his own rainbow light pulsing a little brighter, a beacon of reassurance. "I am Charlie. I am here to help." Slowly, tentatively, the tiny light reappeared, hovering uncertainly behind a large, drooping fern leaf. It was a firefly, no bigger than Charlie's thumb, its little light barely strong enough to illuminate its own tiny, frightened face. "I am Flicker," the firefly whispered, his voice a faint, buzzing sound. "I got lost from my family and I can't find my light." Charlie understood immediately. Flicker wasn't just lost geographically, he was lost in his own courage, his own ability to shine. "Your light is there, Flicker," Charlie said, nudging the fern gently with his nose. "It just needs a little company to remember how to glow." He sat down slowly, deliberately, right beside the tiny firefly, allowing his own vibrant rainbow colors to bathe the immediate area in a kaleidoscope of gentle light. "My clan," Charlie began, his voice soft and thoughtful. "They taught me that being different, being bright, was dangerous. They said I should hide, always blend in, always be the same as everyone else." Flicker listened, his tiny light pulsing a little more steadily in Charlie's reassuring glow. "But Elder Mariposa, she taught me that my true colors are not a curse. They are a warning to those who would mean me harm, and a beacon for those who need to find their way." He looked at Flicker, his beautiful chameleon eyes twinkling with every color, "Just like your light, Flicker. It's not just for you. It's for finding your way home. But but I am so small." Flicker buzzed, his light dimming slightly again. "And the dark is so big. What if no one sees my light?" Charlie smiled. "Then we make it bigger," he said simply. "We shine together," image prompt. Charlie extending a gentle foreleg, not touching Flicker, but offering comfort and solidarity. His rainbow light seems to encompass the firefly. He then looked up, scanning the dense canopy above them, his chameleon eyes swiveling, searching for something specific. He noticed a series of large translucent leaves, almost like stained glass, hanging just above their heads, angled perfectly to catch and refract light. "Flicker," Charlie instructed, "can you fly up to that leaf, the one that looks like a window?" Flicker, still hesitant but trusting Charlie's calm demeanor, slowly fluttered upward, his tiny light a pale yellow against the dark leaves. He landed on the translucent leaf, his small light a lonely pinprick against its vast surface. "Now," Charlie said with a mischievous twinkle in his eye, "watch this." Charlie then shifted his body, angling himself perfectly so that his full, magnificent rainbow glow hit the translucent leaf. The leaf, acting like a natural prism, caught Charlie's light and instantly refracted it, scattering a dazzling, multicolored starburst across the entire dark clearing. Flicker's tiny light, once so lonely, was now amplified, transformed, and surrounded by a symphony of borrowed colors. The clearing, once so dark and still, was suddenly alive with dancing colors, a vibrant celebration of light. Flicker gasped, his small face wide with awe. His own light, invigorated by the surrounding brilliance, pulsed stronger and steadier than ever before. He began to glow with a confidence he hadn't known he possessed, his small yellow light now a proud, bright star in the rainbow constellation. Charlie watched him, a deep, quiet satisfaction filling his heart. He wasn't just shining for himself anymore. He was shining for someone else. Suddenly, from the top of the canopy, a chorus of faint, joyful chirps and clicks echoed through the tree's Flicker's family, guided by the unusual, amplified light. Flicker, overjoyed, zipped off the leaf, his light now strong and clear, flying towards his family, leaving behind a trail of sparkling yellow dust. Charlie watched him go, a profound sense of purpose settling over him, deeper and more satisfying than any praise he had ever received for blending in. His true colors, once a source of unbearable shame, had become a bridge, a beacon, a gift. He was not meant to hide. He was meant to help others find their light just as he had found his own. Charlie watched the faint, joyful glow of Flicker and his family disappear into the dense canopy, a profound peace settling over his shimmering rainbow scales. He felt the strength of his colors, a steady, unshakable light that came not from effort, but from simply being true. He climbed back up toward Elder Mariposa, who was waiting patiently on the highest branch, bathed in the cool light of the moon. "You have learned the night's lesson, little light," Elder Mariposa whispered as Charlie settled comfortably beside her. "Your true colors, Charlie, were never meant to attract danger. They were meant to declare your place in the world." She explained that every creature has a unique light. Some are quiet, like the slow pulse of a glowing fungi, and some are vibrant, like the speed of a firefly. "But when you try to be a dull green fungi," Mariposa sighed, "when your heart is built to be a rainbow, you hurt both your own light and the world that needs your unique color." Charlie nodded, looking down at the still sleeping emerald canopy below, seeing it now not as a place of judgment, but as a vast, colorful home. As the first faint pinks of dawn began to paint the horizon, Charlie knew it was time to return to his clan, not in shame, but in service. He descended to the trunk of elders, the very spot where he had been cast out, his magnificent colors shining brightly in the new morning light. The chameleons of the clan were already stirring, their skin settling into cautious, protective shades of muted green and gray. The Sun Elder, who had pointed the trembling claw at Charlie just days ago, approached slowly, his face now etched with lines of worry, not anger. "Charlie," the elder croaked, you have not hidden. Are you not afraid of the consequences of your brightness?" Charlie looked at the Sun Elder with calm kindness. "I was afraid, Elder, but hiding caused me and Flicker more harm than my shining ever could." He then told them the story of the hidden bog he couldn't see when he was hiding, and the lost firefly he could only save when he decided to shine. He explained that the great gray hush was full of problems they couldn't see because their conformity made them all look in the same way. "My color," Charlie declared, his voice ringing with gentle confidence, "is not a danger to the clan. It is a new perspective that can save us all." A slow murmur spread through the clan, not of judgment, but of dawning realization. They understood the deep knowledge Charlie had brought back from the night. The Sun Elder slowly lowered his head in respect, the same movement Charlie's father had made when he accepted the impossible truth. "Charlie the Chameleon," the Elder announced, his voice carrying the new dawn's truth. "Your uniqueness is now our compass. From this day forward, when the mists roll in and the darkness closes around us, you will not hide. You will be our beacon." And so Charlie was welcomed back, not because he finally learned how to blend in, but because he finally learned how to stand out and to serve. He was the same little chameleon, but his heart was full, his purpose was clear, and his light was steady and true. And as he walked through his home, he saw that many of the other young chameleons were now letting their own unique colors show, timidly but beautifully. For the great truth Charlie brought back to the emerald canopy was this: the world is not made brighter by everyone shining the same. The world is made magnificent by every unique light, every true color, finding the courage to shine exactly as it was meant to be. Now, dear friend, let the beautiful colors of Charlie's story settle softly into your heart. Remember that whatever your true color is, whether it's a quiet blue, a vibrant yellow, or a dazzling rainbow, it is magnificent and it is needed.